Okay. Okay, I also want to spend some time to give you some guidelines about the paper presentation starting from this Thursday. And the schedule is released, so please go to the web course. So under the paper presentation, there's a paper, the presentation schedule. So here I'll take a screenshot. So for each class, right? So these are the presenters, and I think underneath. Under the class schedule, I also list there, right, what papers each presenter will present. Okay, please check your schedule and plan the make sure you have enough time to prepare the presentation. Okay, and for each of the class, once you are done with the presentation, please submit your presentation slides. You can do this even before the class if you want. But at least please do this, submit the presentation slide after the class of the presentation, and this will be used for grading, okay? And I also want to, try and kind of highlight a couple of key points to give you some of the idea, right? How can you make good presentations, okay? So first of all, just let's assuming, all the students, they didn't read the paper and they don't understand, this is the first time they hear the topic, right? So the goal is to explain and discuss the paper, to your fellow student. And the presentation is about, 20 minutes and will followed by questions and discussions, okay? So we have summer class, we have 3 presentations, so want to make sure we have enough time to have, for students to ask questions and also have some follow-up discussions. Okay, so please, limit your presentation time to around like 20 minutes. Okay, and these are some of the, components you should have for the presentation. And of course, you can have more, but these are the things definitely, can be considered like a main parts or components of the presentation, right? So you can list the title, the authors, and their affiliations, and then you as a presenter, okay? And the problem studied in the paper, right? You can have like 1 or 2 slides to explain the problem, right? What they are trying to solve in this paper, okay? You can also list some of the related works, right? So these can be lay some of the foundations or preliminaries to help the audience to better understand, right? Let's say they study this diffusion model, right, to do the image, reconstruction or text to image generation, right? So can you lay some foundations, right? What is diffusion model, right? So this can ease the audience to understand the later concept, right? Because when you explain their method, inevitably you will mention, right, how they do this kind of diffusion model or maybe other technique, right? It's better you explain something like the preliminary or background in front, right? So people can better prepare with this kind of background or knowledge, okay? And also you can put the motivation of the research, right? Why they are motivated to do this, right? Why this is an important problem they want to solve in the paper. And also what do you think is the main contribution of the paper, right? Usually like these CVP or ICCV papers, the authors will list the contributions. So you can, extract some information there, or you can give your own interpretation, right? What do you think is their key contributions in the paper? Okay. And before you dive into the details of the method, it will be good to maybe have one slide to give an overview, right? Just like a preparation, okay? Before I dive into the details of the method, right? This is the overview, right? You have a graph, maybe this part, and this part, right? Just to have an overview of the entire method. So people can, know what to expect, right? Maybe later you will explain the details of each of the component or modules, okay? So this will, help the audience to better prepare, right? And then you can dive into the details, right? Make sure some of the key, concept or contributions, components of the method are very clearly described, right? So people can understand what's going on for their method. Once you explain the method, then you can go through this experiment, right? How they do the evaluation, right? The data set, the settings, and the result, right? And provide also analysis, right? What are the takeaway we can get from the experimental evaluation? Okay, so those are important because after all, we're trying to learn something from the paper, right? We need to convey this kind of message, based on the experiment and the analysis. Okay. And finally, just like you are doing the paper review, right? Please summarize the strengths and the weakness you think of the paper, right? Based on your own understanding. And maybe you can also provide like the rating, or if you are a reviewer, right, what kind of rating you will give, right? Just like you are doing the paper review. And finally, you can also provide some of the ideas, right, in terms of future directions. Maybe you think, okay, their proposed method is not may miss something, right? You have some idea, right? This could be something easily to incorporate to improve. Or if you identify there is one maybe particular weakness of their paper, right? Maybe let's say the computation complexity is quite high, right? They are sacrificing the complexity to gain the performance, right? Maybe this is a one limitation, and then you can point out this and maybe give some suggestions, right? How can be potentially improved, right? To maybe have a better trade-off in terms of complexity and accuracy or performance. Okay, so these are something you can think about to put into your thoughts. Maybe some of the suggestions for future direction. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all these, but I specifically put these into like the guidelines. So basically, I just put it here to reiterate, so you can follow these guidelines to prepare your presentation. And yeah. Okay, and also you can look at some of the papers, right? As I mentioned in the first class. The CV Foundations, they have these talks and oral presentations for those papers, right? You can check out the best paper presentation from past years, like CVPR, ICCV, ECCV, right? The best paper, they have a reason, right? So you have like 1,000, maybe 9,000 of submission, right? Best paper only have one, right? So 1 out of 8,000 papers, right? And the author usually put tremendous effort into presenting their paper, because at this conference they are given like 20 or 25 minutes of talk and trying to present every aspect of their method, right, to promote their work, right? So they mostly do a very good job trying to explain their work, right, why their work is very significant as being selected for best paper. So you can learn from those talks. Okay, so here, I highly recommend you quickly go through a couple of examples, right? You get an idea of people usually, giving a speech or giving a presentation of their work. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the, like I mentioned, right, 20 minutes for presentation. We'll have 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A and discussion. And also for the audience, please participate in the discussion. So this is very important, right? Because, through the presentation discussion, this is how we learn some of the new technique, right? Maybe for this particular problem or task, okay? And I will also, based on your performance, right, in participating in discussion, to give you credit, right? Because we have like 5% of credit in terms of class discussion and the participation. So this is the time, right, you contribute to this part. Okay. Just one more note on the paper review report. So there, in the first report, some of you guys spend a lot of time and energy into the paper summarization. I appreciate that. So actually, some of you read a very detailed summary. So I appreciate the effort. So I think that's very good. But you should also spend more time thinking about the weakness and the strengths and some of the future directions, right? I mean, summary, we all can do a very good summary, right? You can read the papers, have very good summary, but the critical thinking comes from you judge other people's work, right? What do you think are the weakness, right? What is your justification? You consider this point is a weakness, right? This will make you put into this kind of critical thinking, spend the time to understand the problem, understand their method. Then you can give constructive comments, right? If you don't understand this, then you're not able to give any of the comments. Okay, so this is I'm looking for, because writing a summary you can basically briefly look at, then extract text. But weakness is something you have to provide. Okay, if you don't read the paper in detail, you don't understand. It's going to be difficult for you to provide construct comments in term weakness. Okay, so this is what I want. So please put more effort into writing the weakness. Give the thoughts. Through this kind of practice, eventually we'll learn a lot, right? Because if you have this kind of thinking process, then you're basically acting like a reviewer, right? When you prepare a manuscript, or if you're submitting a paper to a conference, then it's better for you to put into the shoes of the reviewer, right? To think ahead, right? What kind of potential problem or questions the reviewer may ask. So you want to avoid that, or improve your paper so that the reviewer may not ask this kind of question, right? Otherwise you may get a very negative rating, right? Like a reject, right? So we don't want that. So by doing this kind of practice, hopefully you understand, right? So what is the common practice for preparing the paper? So this will also help you to carry out or conduct the research. Okay. Okay, just to, if you are interested in publishing papers, right, in the medical image computing, so MICCAI is the upcoming conference. So I think the deadline is March 8th. It's very close. So if you have some work in progress, you may consider this. And they also have the workshops. The deadline may come later.